There are a lot of reasons why you might be looking to expand the gear range and or convert to a one-by drivetrain on your gravel bike or drop bar adventure bike, whatever you want to call it. There are a lot of options out there now with SRAM's 1x11 group sets, and Shimano now has the GRX line, but maybe you're on a budget, maybe you've got some perfectly good 10-speed Shimano road levers, and you're not quite ready to make the jump to 11 speed and buy a brand new group set, possibly a brand new wheel set. But what are your options? We're going to do some experiments using my 10-speed Shimano Ultegra 6700 levers and a bunch of different derailleurs and cassettes, and we're going to see what sort of gear range we can achieve. Some things to note: if you have Shimano Ultegra 4700 levers, this video is not for you. They operate on a different cable pull ratio than other Shimano 10-speed road components. If you do have Ultegra 4700, you are in luck though, because you can just use a GRX rear derailleur, even the 11-speed ones, and you're in business. Also, because I'm going to be trying out many different combinations of cassettes and derailleurs, I won't be testing out each setup on the road. Mostly, I am just trying to prove concept here. Your mileage may vary, and it's up to you and or your mechanic to decide what is right for you. If you'd like to skip my preamble about this particular bike and go right to the experiment, feel free to skip ahead about 5 minutes or so. I will put time codes in the description so you can jump to a specific part that you're interested in. But first I'm going to talk briefly about this particular gravel bike conversion because I ran into some unexpected challenges when building up this bike, and it might be relevant to some people's situation if they are looking into this sort of thing. This is my Bianchi Project-5. It's a lugged steel frame from the early to mid-90s, originally sold as a flat bar hybrid / mountain bike with a 3x7 drivetrain, cantilever brakes, and stock 700/45C tires. I saw the frame on Craigslist and thought it would make for a great gravel all-road conversion. I certainly wasn't going to buy a brand new group set for something like this. I pieced it together with mostly used components and upgraded a few things over time. It is currently set up with a 2x10 Shimano Ultegra drivetrain, way overgeared, with 53/39 tooth chain rings in the front and an 11/28 tooth cassette in the rear. I use it mostly for urban commuting, running errands, and some recreational trail riding. There is no reason why I would ever really need to be in the highest gears on this bike. So why would I want to go one by? Why not just get a compact double crank set with some smaller rings? Well, this bike maybe isn't the most ideal candidate for that kind of setup, and here is why. I tried using a compact double crank set on this bike, but I could just not clear the chainstay with the inner ring. I just don't think this bike was designed with that in mind. It probably just took a very long spindled square taper bottom bracket with whatever triple crank set it came with. So what I have right now is an Ultegra 6603 crankset, originally a triple. It has a longer spindle to accommodate the extra chainring, which I have removed. I had to play with the spacing on the spindle to bring the chain rings in as close as I could without hitting the chainstay. The result is a slightly asymmetric distance from the crank arms to the center of the bike. It's not ideal, but it's really not all that noticeable. The other challenge of this build is the cable routing. It's all along the top tube here, meaning there are no bosses to put barrel adjusters on the down tube, and there are no cable guides under the bottom bracket. My front derailleur is set up using a cross pulley to use a bottom pull derailleur, and I've sort of jammed a barrel adjuster into this cable stop in the back of the seat tube so that I can have some adjustment. I've also tried inline barrel adjusters, but I found them difficult to fine tune, and the barrel always seemed to work its way back in, letting out slack in the cable. Maybe I just had a bad brand. They were Origin 8 inline barrel adjusters if I recall. Maybe you know some good ones. The front shifting has always been adequate, but never all that great. So that's why I want to just eliminate the front derailleur and go one by. I also just wanted to experiment and breathe some new life into this bike. And there are a lot of anecdotal stories that I've read on message boards and stuff about setups that work or don't work, but I wanted to find out for myself and share it with anyone who might be looking to do something similar. So when doing a conversion like this, you probably don't need to get a new crank set if you already have one. What is recommended is that you get a narrow wide chainring like this, and it has narrow teeth and wide teeth that mate with the corresponding narrow and wide links on your chain, and that's supposed to prevent you from dropping your chain because you no longer have the front derailleur to do that job for you. You can get narrow wide chain rings in a variety of different tooth counts and bolt configurations, so you just have to make sure that you get one that matches your crank's bolt pattern. And this one here, this SRAM Apex 1 crankset that I picked up, I'm running a 42 tooth chainring with it, but remember what I said before about having some trouble clearing the chainstay? Well, it is happening again with this. So that's a little frustrating. What I'm going to do for now is just flip this sucker around. And this probably doesn't give me the most ideal chain line. I have a gap of probably about 5 millimeters between the chainstay and the chainring right now. I may need to look into getting a different crank set. It's too bad that this one didn't work. Maybe I'll put the old Ultegra one back on and order a narrow wide chainring that fits that bolt pattern. The Ultegra crank set was lighter anyway. But for the sake of this experiment, I'm just going to put this one on and we'll see how the chain line looks. Okay, so here we have just about everything for the experiment. We're going to be trying out 4 different cassettes today. The first one is an 11 to 36 cassette, not pictured here. We're taking that one that's on a wheel on one of my other bikes. And here we have an 11 to 40 tooth. This is a Sunrace. 11 to 42. That one is a Shimano Deore. And another Sunrace with an 11 to 46 tooth range. And we're going to be trying out a total of 5 different derailleurs. There is the Ultegra 6700 short cage that's currently on the bike. Here I've got an Ultegra 6700 medium cage rear derailleur, 10 speed. We've got a Shimano Deore M591 9-speed rear derailleur, which, in case you don't know, Shimano 9-speed rear derailleurs are compatible with Shimano 10-speed road levers, with the exception of Tiagra 4700, of course. And then here is the slightly newer Shimano Deore M592 9-speed rear derailleur. This is like the shadow design that has this little link thing there. And then finally, Shimano Deore M6000 10-speed rear derailleur. This one comes with a clutch. And 10-speed mountain and 10-speed road with Shimano are not compatible, which brings us over here. This is the wolf tooth tan pan, and pretty much you feed the cable through here and it goes around these couple pulleys, effectively changing the cable pull ratio to translate the road cable pull into something that'll work with the mountain derailleur. It comes with a little ferrule so you can use it inline with your cable housing or just insert it into the derailleur like that. And we also have some other things from Wolf Tooth here. This is the road link and pretty much acts as a derailleur hanger extender, helping you get some bigger teeth on the cassette. And here's another one. This one actually came with the Sunrace 46 tooth cassette. It's pretty much the exact same dimensions as the one from Wolf Tooth. And also here we have the Goat link, and this replaces the little link thing here that comes on Shimano Shadow derailleurs, and it sort of acts similarly to the road link. It acts as an extender, seats it farther down and back so you can get some of those bigger gears. Okay, so here we have the 11 to 36 tooth cassette. I just took this wheel right off of one of my other bikes, and this is going to be paired with the Ultegra 6700 short cage rear derailleur, and let's see if it goes. I think that looks pretty good. I'd say that we're probably about maxing out that rear derailleur, but without any road link or anything, we were able to get the 36 tooth cassette to work, and this is just the same chain that was already on the bike before. But yeah, looking at that derailleur, I'm not sure if we can go any bigger, but I guess next we will try the 40 tooth. Okay, so here we have the 11 to 40 tooth cassette with the short cage Ultegra 6700 rear derailleur. I've got the B-limit screw in just about as far as it can go. I would call that a no-go, just based on how the upper pulley here is pretty much right on the biggest cog there. So we will try it with a road link now and see if that works. Okay, here we have the 11 to 40 tooth cassette with the short cage Ultegra 6700 rear derailleur and a Wolf Tooth road link derailleur hanger extender. I've got a new chain on here now because the old one was too short. So let's see. I didn't tune the derailleur too well, but I think we can probably bring that B screw out a little bit. Okay, so I have backed the B screw out on the short cage Ultegra derailleur, and I took another link out of the chain just because it was a little too long and there was no tension on the derailleur at all when in the small gear. So let's take a look at it now. It's in the gear, but just looking at how stretched the derailleur is, I don't know if I would recommend running it in this setup. So if you've got the Ultegra short cage rear derailleur, I think 36 teeth is probably about as far as you want to push it. And Next we will move on to the medium cage Ultegra derailleur. Alright, so here we have the 40 tooth cassette with the Ultegra medium cage derailleur. I skipped the 36 tooth cassette because I already run that derailleur with a 36 tooth cassette on one of my other bikes and I know it works fine. But here it is with the 40, and it was able to shift into the 40 tooth sprocket, but it is sort of rubbing on the pulley even with the B screw screwed all the way in, so I would call that a no-go. But let's give it a shot with the road link and see how that looks. Alright, so here I realized that I needed a longer bit of cable housing here. I know it's really long right now, but I can always trim it down later. I just don't want to have to keep cutting new pieces as I switch to different derailleurs. So I've got a new shift cable, new housing there. We've got the Ultegra medium cage rear derailleur, a wolf tooth road link, and a 40 tooth cassette. Let's see how it goes. I'd say that looks pretty good. I was not really expecting that to work. I haven't tuned the shifting entirely yet, but yeah. Now, you probably are going to experience a little bit of chain slap with a setup like this, so I'm not entirely sure if that's really the best idea to run it like this. I'm not sure how many more, I don't think you could take any more links out of the chain either. So I guess do that at your own risk. I don't think this is ideal, but what we have learned is that you can easily run a 36 tooth cassette with an Ultegra rear derailleur. You know, you could throw on like a 38 tooth chainring in the front. You'd lose a little bit of your top speed, but you could achieve almost a 1-to-1 ratio like that. I guess next we will move on to one of the Deore derailleurs. Right, this is the Deore M591 9-speed mountain rear derailleur with the 40 tooth cassette. The B screw is just about all the way in. The cassette is rubbing on that top pulley, and the B screw just all the way in. I don't think we can get any more clearance there, but I think with the road link this probably should work. Let's give that a shot. Alright, here we go with the Deore M591 9-speed non-shadow rear derailleur with the wolf tooth road link and the 11 to 40 tooth cassette. I would say that is a success. Now let's try the 42 teeth. This is the Deore M591 9-speed mountain rear derailleur with the 11 to 42 tooth cassette. And this is with the road link, by the way. I would call that a success as well. Can it do 46? Alright, this is the Deore M591 rear derailleur with the 11 to 46 tooth cassette. Will it do it? It's doing it. The B screw is most of the way in again with the road link on there. Just seems to just give it enough clearance. I wonder if we can put the B screw in anymore, but you know, that surprises me. So a 42 tooth chainring, 46 tooth cassette, the 9-speed rear derailleur, and a road link. With the M591 and the road link, you know, you are going to probably get a little bit of chain slap if you're in the highest couple gears, but you know, as long as you're not on like super chunky stuff, it's probably going to be okay, and you're probably not going to be in that gear anyway on the chunkiest stuff, but you know, you're definitely going to want a chainstay protector if you run a setup like this. Alright, so since filming the last segment, I got a new chainring, the Race Face narrow wide 42 tooth chainring, and I put it back on the old Ultegra triple crankset, and I have that back on the bike now, and the chain line is looking much better than it was before with the Apex crankset. And now I've got it paired with the Shimano Deore M592 9-speed shadow style rear derailleur. This one posed a couple challenges. Mostly the lack of barrel adjuster was a problem, and I tried, you know, sticking a barrel adjuster in here, but that it didn't fit right and it wasn't really working. I also tried putting the wolf tooth tan pan in that slot, but it also doesn't fit there. But I was going to just bypass the double pulley and just kind of use the tan pan for a barrel adjuster. So what I did is now I have it installed inline up by the handlebars just temporarily, but I've been finding it very hard to index the gears. It just doesn't shift quite right, but let's see how it just gets up to the 42. It gets up there, and I have the B screw totally maxed out, and it's very close. I don't know if I would run this combination personally, and I don't think I would push this anymore. Wolf Tooth does not recommend using the road link for these shadow style derailleurs, so I guess I'm not going to do that. And I cannot use the goat link because this sort of linkage piece here is a lot thinner on this derailleur than on the later derailleurs or the Deore 10-speed rear derailleurs, and the goat link just will not fit. So I guess I'll call this maybe, but questionable. I don't think I would do it, and we'll try out the tan pan with the M6000 rear derailleur next. This is the Deore M6000 rear derailleur setup, using the tan pan to convert the road cable pull to work with the mountain rear derailleur. And this is the 40 tooth cassette, which should work fine for this derailleur. I believe it's rated up to 42 teeth, so let's give this a shot with the tan pan. Oh, that's weird. the derailleur arm is running into the chain. That's strange. Why don't we give it a shot with the goat link and see if that solves the problem. We now have the goat link installed, and here we go. 40 tooth cassette, M6000 rear derailleur. I'd say that's working pretty good. Onto the 42. Alright, here goes the 42 tooth cassette with the M6000 rear derailleur plus the wolf tooth goat link. I'd say that's working pretty good, and we are achieving a 1-to-1 ratio. Let's see if it can handle 46. Alright, here we have the M6000 rear derailleur with the goat link and the 11-to-46 tooth cassette, and that gold chain can mean only one thing. That's, I think we found our combination. So what we learned is that we can achieve some pretty big gear ranges with a tan pan and a 10-speed mountain rear derailleur, and we can also achieve some really big range with the Deore M591 9-speed rear derailleur plus the road link. I think if I was going to be using a setup like this for touring, I would go with the M591 just because I'd be worried about, you know, little things going wrong with the tan pan and then being stuck. I think, you know, working with a 9-speed rear derailleur would lend itself to problem solving out on the tour, but for what I'm going to be using this bike for, I think I'm going to stick with this setup and the clutch, and I'm really happy with this. Thank you for watching. I hope you found some of this helpful or interesting. If you have any questions, or if you just want to tell me I did a bad job and I don't know anything about bikes, leave a comment, I guess. Eventually, I'd like to upgrade the wheel set on this bike to something tubeless compatible and run some fatter tires. And if I decide to do any other cool projects or experiments, maybe I'll make another video. Thanks.